Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Boss Up and Glow Up with Lexi Sample. I'm a little bit sick right now, so don't mind my stuffy voice. I'm a little clogged right now. But today we have a snow day, so I thought it's the perfect time to film a podcast episode because I can't leave the house, so why not get a podcast episode done? Today's topic may be a little triggering to people. It's about my child abuse story. As some of you may know, some of you may not know, because this is the first time I'm actually talking about this on social media. I touched on it a teeny tiny bit in silly little TikTok trends, but I never fully talked about the story. My father was abusive towards me and my mother when I was growing up. So I'm going to kind of talk about it. Because a lot of people say I'm so strong and they see me strong and I always preach about being strong, but I never really talked about why I'm so strong. This is literally the first time I'm talking about this. So I hope this doesn't trigger anyone. And it's a long story, but I'm going to make this as short as possible. I'm not going to say all the details and the nitty gritty because that is also extremely triggering. And I don't even know if I could say some of this stuff online. So I'm not going to go into the details that my dad did to me, but I'm going to kind of talk about the abuse and how it shaped me to be a really strong person and how it affects me now as a 26-year-old woman because it was really hard growing up. I was scared to even be home, honestly. So it's a very triggering topic to talk about, but I really want to help people. That's the whole point of this podcast. And so many people go through child abuse and they don't say anything because it is scary. They're afraid to speak up. And we're going to talk about it and we're going to talk about how to overcome it, how it shapes you, and how to go about it if it's happening to you. Let's get into it. To start off, my dad was in the military when I was a kid, and I noticed that he changed completely when he got back from the military. However, my mom did mention that he was always kind of abusive towards her even before the military, but that's not my story to share. That's her story to share. Maybe I'll have her come on one day if she wants to talk about it. But I'm just going to explain my part of the story, not my mom's, because that is not my story to share. That's hers. But my dad was in the military when I was a child. I don't remember him being really mean towards me or abusive towards me, but I also was so young, I might have not picked up on it. But he was stationed in Iraq for a year, and that was the best year of my life, honestly, looking back on it now because he wasn't there. But he would send me and my sister souvenirs from Iraq and these little toys. So he with little letters saying that he missed us and all this, that, and forth. And I thought he was completely normal. But when he came home, I was so excited for him to come home. I was happy to have my dad back. But he was not my dad anymore. He was a monster. It was insane. He was just so angry all the time. And I couldn't figure out what the problem was. I thought I was being bad because my punishments were just being beat. And I was convinced for so long that I was just a bad kid because I was like, what am I doing? Why am I in trouble all the time? Why am I being beat nonstop? And I would talk about my punishments to my friends and I would ask them, I would be like, do your parents hit you? And they'd be like, no, do yours? And I'm like, well, my dad beats me. And I would have marks all over my body and I would try to hide them in school because I didn't want anyone to know because it was kind of embarrassing. But I was convinced that I was this bad, horrible child because I was constantly being beat by my father. And to me, it was normal. I thought that's how you punish your children. But the thing is, my mom never, ever hit me. Ever. If I was in trouble, she would literally put me in timeout in the corner. And that's it. She wouldn't hit me. So I started to pick up on the different types of punishments from my mom versus my dad. And it got so bad to a point where I was afraid to be home. I hated being home. My mom was great, which sucks to say that I hated being home because my mom was perfect. She was amazing. But I just didn't want to be around my dad. He was just so scary. I was terrified when I was younger because I was scared that he was going to hurt me. Who knew what was going to happen? Because every other day he was mad about something and he just always attacked me. And I just couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. But as I got a little bit older, I started to realize this is not a normal punishment. People do not beat their children to the point where they are having bruises. They're getting knocked out unconscious. They're being choked to the point where they can't breathe. Trigger warning, I'm sorry, but like things like that were going on. And that's when I started to realize this is not fucking normal. Like, this is scary. And it sucks to say because your father is supposed to be, especially as a little girl, someone you look up to. You really need that father figure in your life because they really have a huge impact on you. And I didn't have that. I was afraid of my father. I saw my father as this mean, horrible monster. And it's just like, it's hard. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, people and teachers noticed a little bit when I was in school because I would like cover my neck from like a choke mark, or I would cover some bruises with makeup. Like, I started doing makeup really young because I was trying to cover bruises. Like, I remember this one time I had a black eye. I didn't even tell my mom because I was so scared and so embarrassed. Like, I thought if I told my mom what was going on, that my dad would hurt me worse. So I learned how to do makeup very, very young, and I would constantly wear concealer on my eyes in like middle school because I didn't want anyone to see the bruises, because I didn't want anyone to ask questions, because I didn't want to speak about it, because I was afraid of the outcome that my dad might hurt me worse than he already did. And it also got to a point where my best friend, he started doing stuff around my best friend. Like, he started to beat me with her around, and she wasn't even allowed to come to my house anymore. It was so sad because my best friend wasn't allowed to come hang out at my house. It was so unfortunate because I don't blame her mom, though, because if that was my kid, I wouldn't want my kid to be around that either. But at the time, I couldn't do anything about it because I was just being beat constantly. But my dad was just so fucking angry all the time. He literally beat me in front of my best friend. And I guess she told her mom that. And her mom was like, "You can't go to Lexi's anymore. Lexi can come here, but you can't go there." And I don't blame her. I didn't want to be at my own house either. So I do not blame the mom for not letting her come over. And this whole incident, I remember it was so dumb. I was turning the shower on and the shower like wasn't working. Like, something was wrong with the water. And I literally was like, "You stupid shower." And my dad was like, "What the F did you just say?" And he came in, grabbed me by my hair, and started beating me with a belt. And I'm like, "What the hell?" All I said was the shower's being stupid. Like, why is that wrong? Like, I don't understand what I did. And that is when I started to realize that I did nothing wrong. My dad was just an insane person, because my friend was like, "Why did you get beat for that? Like, you were just saying the shower was stupid because it wasn't working." Like, what? And he literally beat me in my face, in my back, everywhere with this belt. I was terrified of belts for a while. I know some people do like smack their kids with belts and stuff. I honestly don't believe in that. I think it's totally wrong. But the way my dad hit me with that belt, he would like wail on me, wail on me, wail on me. And it would leave like cysts and marks. And I was just afraid. I have some scars from that. And it's just like scary. When you're in a situation like that, it's really difficult to speak up, especially when it's a parent, because you're afraid of what might happen. And it's very similar to people who get into domestic violence relationships. And I can't stand when someone talks about they're being abused by their partner and they're afraid to leave, but they want to leave and they know they should leave and they haven't left yet. And then people are always like, "Well, just leave. It's not that hard." You don't know the situation until you've been in it. I've been in it both ways. I've been in it in a relationship, and I've been in it with my father. And both times it's not easy to speak up. I also had this one friend. She was my really good friend in middle school. She started dating this guy. She had 2 kids with this guy. They were together for years on and off, but he was very abusive. He was a toxic person. And then one day, this is an extreme trigger warning. I don't even know if I should say this. He killed her. He shot her in the head in front of both of their children. And it's just insane, because the crazy thing is she was trying to leave. She was trying to get out of that relationship. And I guess he picked up on that she was trying to leave the relationship. And then he did that. And this is why a lot of people are scared to leave abusive relationships, because these people are so unstable. You don't know what they're capable of. You don't know what they're going to do. And my mom had to deal with that for a while. Like, she is still here, thank God. But it was hard for her to leave too. Like, after I talked to her about it as I got older, she was afraid. And it makes sense, because this person is hurting you so bad all the time. You just think, oh, if I say something and I get them in trouble, like, what are they gonna do to me? I was so scared. Like, my one teacher noticed a bruise on me and she like asked me about it. And I lied at first. And then eventually I told her the truth. And I was like questioned and all that stuff. And I was just so scared because I was like, is he gonna find out I told on him? Is he gonna come at me crazy now because I told on him? But I'm glad I did. And I finally also came clean and told my mom everything that was going on because she wasn't 100% sure. Like, she knew he like smacked me here and there, but she didn't realize the level of abuse that was going on. She didn't realize he was like wailing on me like that. She didn't realize he was hitting me in the face. She didn't realize he was choking me. She didn't know any of that. This one time I strictly remember, this is also very triggering. Me and my sister were making cupcakes. And we were kids, so obviously we weren't good at it. And I burnt them because we left them in for too long. And then my dad smelt it and he was not happy. He was very angry that we burnt it. He ran up the basement stairs, started wailing on us. My sister went to her room, but I like talked back. Because one thing about me is I'm going to stand up for myself, even though, yes, you're a military man, you're going to hurt me. But I'm not going to sit there and let you beat me without a fight back. So I would talk back, yada, yada, yada. I don't think that helped, obviously. And then he ended up choking me until I turned purple and collapsed on the ground. I don't know if my sister remembers that because she was so young, but I really remember that over some freaking cupcakes. Like, they're just burnt. It's not like we set the house on fire. Like, they were literally just burnt. Like, the oven wasn't on fire, nothing. Like, why are you so mad? And we're kids. Obviously, we don't know how to bake. Why don't you make me cupcakes then? The fuck? If you want me to not burn them, why can't you make something for me? Weird. And it's also crazy that I had to learn how to fight this military man in order to survive because I honestly don't know if I would be here today if I did not learn how to fight back. I had to learn how to defend myself at such a young age. It's insane. I taught myself how to fight. Like, I had these guy friends who did boxing, and I asked them to teach me how to box because we lived in this neighborhood and we would literally box in my one friend's basement, and he would teach me because I was like, I need to learn how to fight this man. And I did. I learned some skills. I learned some kicks. I learned all that, and I used it to my advantage. When he was beating me, I used it, and I had to fight back, and it made me really strong. So I feel like I could take on anyone. Yes, I'm small, but I'm pretty damn mighty because if I can fight military adults, I could take on any challenge. Come for me. Just kidding. But no, I really had to learn because I wanted to survive. Did not want to die. I also remember this one time when my dad was like attacking my mom, and I was scared, obviously, because I didn't want my mom being attacked. But this is like one of the more serious times that I saw. And I grabbed the stopper for the sliding glass door, like that thing. I had to whack him with it and throw stuff at him for him to like not attack my mom. And then I ran into the front yard and called 911 on my phone, and he broke my phone. So that was that. That's another reason why I'm scared to tell anyone because I thought he was going to really hurt me. But I think he was too scared of getting in trouble because I already had called 911 so they could trace the call. So we had to take my mom to the hospital, and my dad, I don't know what he did. I don't remember. But my mom was trying to drive to the hospital with a dislocated shoulder. When you're dealing with childhood trauma like this, it affects your relationships in the future and friendships even. I am in therapy now. Okay, let me circle back for a second. So I was forced to do therapy as a kid. My mom wanted me in therapy to like work on all of it, and I was not cooperative at all. I was rejecting it. I was like, I feel like I'm an insane person if I'm in therapy. I don't need therapy, yada, yada, yada. And I did. I needed it because I was getting in so much trouble in school all the time because I was lashing out because of what was going on at home. I was lashing out in school. And what my current therapist told me is she thinks I was doing that even though my dad was a psycho. She thinks I wanted his attention and I was trying to get his attention because I wanted his love. And that honestly makes a lot of sense because I knew the outcome. I knew I was going to get beat. I knew I was going to get in trouble. But that's the only time my dad really paid attention to me is when he was beating me and something bad was happening. And I thought that was his way of caring about me because it was like my punishment for if I was bad at school. But no, it was just the way for him to let out his anger. And I was just the punching bag, basically. But growing up, I thought that was his way of paying attention to me. And that's the only way I got him to pay attention to me. So I always got myself in trouble. I was always in detention and I was always getting written up and sorry, I'm sick. Phone calls home. It was bad, but that was the only way my dad would pay attention to me. And it honestly affects current relationships too, which is why I have never had a healthy relationship, honestly, because my therapist says that I am seeking people who remind me of my father, which I noticed in my past relationships. It's true. When I get into relationships, I tend to find people who are like not so great, who are more aggressive, who are more angry. And it's interesting how that works because I didn't notice it was correlated with my childhood getting into relationships, but it makes a lot of sense. And I think before I get into a relationship ever again, I need to work on the childhood trauma issues that I had growing up because I feel like I never fully worked on it because I rejected therapy. I didn't take therapy seriously when I was younger. And I never got to really work on it since I didn't take it serious. But now I'm paying for it myself. I'm 26 years old. I really want to work on it. I want to find my partner one day. I want to have a healthy relationship. I want to get married one day. And if I don't work on these issues, I'll never find a healthy relationship. I'm just going to keep seeking unhealthy people, toxic people, abusive people. And I don't want that. I don't want to be in toxic stuff. I want nothing but positivity. I want to be treated like a queen. I want to fall in love. So I really need to work through that. And I am. I've been reading a lot of self-help books about my attachment style, about overcoming childhood trauma, and my therapist has me doing all these exercises, and seeing her once a week really does help a lot. I used to think therapy makes you weak because I used to be like, oh, if I need help from somebody else, I'm such a weak bitch. No, you're not. You trying to get therapy is proving to yourself that you love yourself and you want the best for yourself. You're seeking extra help because you don't really know what to do. A therapist is somebody who is just trained to give you advice. They know what's best. They're certified in these certain areas. Like my therapist is certified in relationships, not certified, specialized in relationships, trauma, abuse, childhood trauma, like stuff like that. So I chose her because she's specializes in all of those areas that I think I need help in because I don't know, it was just really rough. And I really want to find my person one day. And if I don't figure out my childhood trauma and really work through it, then I'll never find that. But it's crazy how fucking strong I am now. Like, if anyone tries to hurt me or comes at me crazy, I'm just like, okay. Like, nothing even bothers me anymore because nothing can be worse than my own father beating me, wailing on me, choking me, trying to kill me, per se. Like, nothing, in my opinion, could be worse than that. Obviously, there are other things that are worse. Like, people go through different things, but that's one of the worst things I've personally been through. So that's why I'm saying that. But there definitely are worse things that happen. I'm not saying this is the worst thing in the world, but it's the worst thing that happened to me personally. But it made me so fucking strong. When I was a kid, I used to be like, oh, I wish this didn't happen to me. I hate this. This sucks. But now I'm like, you know what? I'm happy that happened to me because if I didn't go through that, I would not be who I am today. I would not be so passionate about giving other people advice. I wouldn't be passionate about mental health. I wouldn't be passionate about helping others. And I just would not be this version of Lexi that I am. And I love this version of Lexi. I went through so much, so I feel like I have a lot of trauma and experience to help other people. And eventually, I do want to go back to school and get my PhD in mental health counseling because I did take some time off, but I really want to go back because I really truly believe that my experience mixed with education can make me a really good therapist one day. And I never realized how passionate I am about becoming a therapist until recently when I started preaching advice on social media and my podcast and all that. I think I would make a good therapist because would you want a therapist who has not gone through anything? Like, how can they relate to you? Like, that's how I think. My therapist went through a lot of stuff when she was younger, and she can relate to me because she went through it. So I really want to use what I went through to really help people because it made me a strong motherfucking bitch. So I have no regrets. I don't regret it happening to me. I am glad it happened, honestly, because I'm strong now and I am who I am. I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for my past. You know what I mean? It was pretty tough. And whenever I tell people what I went through, they're like, oh my gosh, like, how the heck did you deal with that? How did you go through it? And I don't really have an answer with how I did it. I just had to do it. I had no other choice. I had to learn how to fight my father to be here. Because if I didn't learn how to fight this man, I don't know where I would be. If I didn't learn how to stick up for myself, I don't know where I would be. I just did what I had to do. There's no like secret formula on how I got through it, really. I just had to do it. You know what I mean? My nose itches. Oh my God. But it's tough to really pinpoint exactly how. I just would do my own research on my little iPod at the time because I had the iPod Touch or whatever. I didn't have a computer yet. So I would like research what was going on and I would watch some videos on what was going on, but I just didn't want to speak up. I only spoke up once I kind of had to. And once I kind of, I don't want to say got caught because that makes me feel like I did something sleazy, but when people found out that that was going on. But finally, when I was in like, how old was I? 4th grade? My parents got divorced. They told me they were getting divorced, and I was like, in my head, I was like, yes, I'm so happy. Finally, I am so happy I don't have to live with my dad anymore. But unfortunately, the court still made me see him. And the thing that really pisses me off, the legal system really pisses me off. Honestly, I'm going backwards now. I used to want to be a lawyer because of this reason. So the legal system was fucked. They knew my dad was abusive towards me. They knew he was a psychopath. I showed pictures of my bruises, pictures of my marks, and they still made me see him. And they required me to do supervised visitations, but he got to pick the supervisor, which is so fucked up. Like, I thought it was gonna be like a cop or something, but no, he chose his mom and then his weird ass girlfriend. And his mom just didn't care. I think she was scared of him. And she was also a little wonky in the head, to be honest. I don't know. That whole family is kind of like a wackadoo. But he chose people that would pick his side in any argument or with anything. And his mom knew that he was abusive and she just did not help. I literally asked her for help so many times and she would just be like, well, you're being bad. How am I being bad? I'm just sitting here watching TV and I'm getting wailed in the face. Like, what do you mean I'm being bad? And then this other time, I strictly remember his girlfriend at the time. We went out to dinner. It was me, my sister, my dad, and the girlfriend. And I was telling the girlfriend to leave. I was like, listen, he is an abuser. You need to run while you can, like run for the hills. Trying to help her out. And she was like, from what he tells me, you are just really bad. I'm like, okay, because I'm horrible, but so is my mom. He's beating both of us. Like, the fuck do you mean? And guess what? He did the same thing to her too. And she reached out to me later because they were dating for a hot minute. And she reached out to me a while after on Facebook and was like, I'm sorry, I didn't believe you. I wish I helped you when I had the chance to. I'm really sorry. He did the same thing to me. I didn't answer her because I was like, bitch, I told you. Like, I don't feel bad. I'm sorry because I normally would feel bad, but I don't because you didn't listen. You thought I was just some stupid bad kid just that hated my dad for no reason. No, I had a reason. I was being abused and you didn't listen to me until it happened to you. Why would I just lie about that? I mean, I guess some people do because they don't like when their parents get into relationships. But if I'm showing you my black eye, my bruises, like, where do you think they came from? Come on now. Be for real. But this is why I am so strong today. All my friends see me as this strong ass bitch, but I never really talked about why, and I've never been vulnerable enough to really speak on it because I don't know. I just never thought that it was anybody's business really, but I kind of share my whole life on social media anyway. And honestly, this can help a lot of people because there are so many people who go through this and just don't say anything. So I'm hoping this actually helps somebody if they're going through it. And if they're not going through it, I hope they just listen to it to bring awareness to it because this is a real problem. And it happens more often than you think. And it's not okay. It's scary. So don't get mad at other people and don't make comments when they're saying that they're in an abusive relationship. Don't make those comments when they're like, well, why don't you just leave? Like, you're stupid if you stay. Do not make those comments because they most likely are trying to leave. They're thinking of a plan, but they're just afraid because they don't want to be killed. And that's very harsh to say, but that's the reality of it. And that's why they don't speak up, because they think they will be killed. And a lot of times they are. When women get restraining orders, okay, I don't want to just say women, but it was a statistic that I looked up. When people, I don't want to stereotype, when people get restraining orders against somebody, they most likely end up being killed or severely hurt by that person. Like, there is an actual statistic about that. Because when my dad did that to my mom, she had a restraining order against him. Like, it's insane. And it's just so scary and so sad to see. But this is real shit, and it really needs to be talked about. That's why I wanted to get on here and talk about it a little bit. Eventually, I'll probably get into a little more details, but I kind of wanted to touch on it just to bring it to the surface a little bit so you can kind of realize that not everybody is like what they seem. Like, you need to be really careful. Like, people can see me and not think that anything has ever happened to me. People see me and think I have this great life. I have no issues when they don't know at all. I come off as a strong bitch. I come off as my life's amazing, but it wasn't always. It took forever to not be afraid of my dad. Like, even when I got older, I was still scared of him. Like, he stalked me a few times. He would just show up to random places I was at, and I would be like, oh my God, I'm scared. Like, why is he showing up where I am? Why does he know where I am? And he did that with me one time when I was with my friend. He just showed up. I was like, get in the car, run. Like, we got out of the car to go into Chick-fil-A, and he shows up. He says, Alexis. I was like, oh my God. And I was like, get in the car, run. But that shit made me so strong. Like, I was being stalked. I always am also so aware of a lot of things. Like, sometimes people think, oh, you're like having no fear. Like, when I went on vacation with my one friend, because she gets a little nervous about things, but I don't get nervous just because I literally fight for my life with things, and I went through so much. So I just am very protective about things. And she's like, how are you not afraid? I'm like, I don't know. I don't fear things anymore because of that. And that may be a bad thing. It may be a good thing, but it also, I'm so cautious. I'm always looking over my shoulder, even to this day, because even though he's left me alone for a while, you never know. Like, he might peep around the corner one day and be there. So I'm just always cautious. I'm always looking over my shoulder. I'm always careful when I'm walking out, like walking my dog. I always got something on me just in case someone tries to do something. But we got to stay safe out here. But I wanted to thank you so much for listening. I really hope this helps somebody and brings a little bit more awareness about abuse, domestic violence, and all that, because it's a scary thing. It's real, and it's definitely not talked about enough because people are scared to talk about it. A lot of victims are scared to talk about it. So I want to be one of the ones that will speak up on it and bring it to the surface a little bit. And hopefully, if this is happening to you, hopefully it motivates you a little bit to try to figure out how to get out of it, try to tell somebody, because it is scary to talk about it and to get help. But if you tell the right person, they can help you get out. Like, my teachers, I feel like, helped me get out because they contacted police and all that. But the legal system wasn't really all that helpful because they still made me see my father supervise. But now that I'm over 18, I have a say. Like, the fuck? Like, I still had to be forced to see this guy that was literally hurting me so bad. But I don't see him. I don't even know where the fuck my dad is, and I couldn't care less. So I hope this helps you a little bit, and I really hope you're not going through this. But if you are, listen to this and stay fucking strong. You are a strong ass bitch. I love you. Bye. Thank you for listening.